The only way to predict where Pluto will be at encounter is to know Pluto's orbit precisely. But incredibly, when New Horizons left Earth 9.5 years ago, the team lacked that critical information. And here's why. It takes Pluto 248 years to go around the sun once. That's like in the whole history of the United States. It's never been in the same place twice. Since its discovery, Pluto has only traveled a third of its orbit. And most of that data isn't very accurate.
This represents the sky. The older data from 1930 to 1950 was less accurate. 1990, this is where we started taking really good data. What that means is that you could draw another curve through here, say, that might have a path that looks a little bit like this. Each one of these lines here represents a different orbit.
Each orbit puts Pluto in a different position at encounter, each one around 62,000 miles apart. As late as 2012, 2/3 into the mission, there is a chance New Horizons could miss Pluto completely.
After all that time planning, building the spacecraft, flying all the way across the solar system to take pictures of empty sky,
Mark knows he has to find a solution, and fast. New Horizons has been in space 9.5 years. They think they'll hit their target, but there's no guarantee they'll succeed. That's because in 2012, with New Horizons speeding through space at almost 1 million miles a day, Mark Buie realizes he doesn't know exactly where Pluto will be at encounter.
I just finally got to the point where in a science team meeting I stood up and said, this is a problem.
With the entire mission in jeopardy, Mark visits the Lowell Observatory, where Tombaugh first discovered Pluto. And incredibly, he stumbles upon a stockpile of telescope images of the night sky around Pluto, taken by astronomer Carl Lamplund. Photographed between 1930 and the early 50s.
Here on the left, we've got one of the two plates that Tombaugh used to actually discover Pluto. That's not enough to pin down the orbit. Then comes the Lamplund plates, zooming in, higher magnification, higher precision, but more importantly, over 20 years of time, with nearly 1,000 measurements. Who knows what he was trying to do, but clearly measuring the position of Pluto was one of those things.
Processing nearly 1,000 of Lamplund's images, Mark creates the first ever movie of Pluto's orbit. Just visible as a tiny, faint dot moving to the right of the bright star. Yep, that little tiny dot is Pluto. Incredibly, by tracking the dot precisely, Mark's team can steer New Horizons towards it to within 8,000 miles of its surface. He can now also predict exactly where Pluto will be on July 14th, 2015, at the moment of encounter.
I think this is just such an amazing story. What the data that Carl Lamplund took has been phenomenally important for the mission.